Leviticus 23 and 2. Let's look at a couple of them that he told you to hollow. Now these are the holy days right here that's coming up. Next month, April the 20th at sundown, April the 21st at sundown. He never told us to hallow Easter and Good Friday and Easter, Palm Sunday and all of these days. He never told us to hallow these days. Let's show you a couple of days he told us to hallow. Leviticus 23, and we're going to pick it up, but this is the season for it. This is the season that's coming up. Leviticus 23 and 2. Go ahead and read that.
Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts.
These are holy gatherings.
Yes, sir.
These are my feasts. Skip down to verse 5. Go ahead.
5. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread. In the first day ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
He said, in the first day you shall have a holy convocation, and you shall do no servile work therein. We're going to stop right there, because we don't want to give it all away right now. We're going to wait till this Sabbath come, and then we're going to deal with all of it. So, but look at what he said. He said the 14th day of the first month at evening is the Lord's Passover, and on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the Lord. 7 days you must eat unleavened bread. In the first day you shall have a holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein. Now look at what the Lord is telling you right here. These are the holy days that he told you to hallow, isn't it? These Sabbath days that he told you to hallow right here. Let's go now. Let's go see how long he told you to hallow these Sabbath. Let's go to Exodus the 12th chapter. Exodus 12. Let's see how long he told you to hallow. Exodus 12. Exodus 12, and we're going to pick it up at verse 14. Exodus 12 and 14. Let's see how long he told you to hallow this. The Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. 12 and 14. Go ahead and read it.
And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever.
You shall keep it by ordinance for how long?
Forever.
Forever. Go ahead and read.
7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day unto the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel.
Now, so what feast are we dealing with right here? We're dealing with the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which comes what? A day after the Passover. Right?
Yes,
he said you shall keep this by a feast, by ordinance for how long?
Forever.
Forever. Now, how you going to get around that? What you going to do with that? He said you're supposed to keep this by a feast forever. Go ahead and read.
16. And in the first day there shall be a holy convocation. In the 7th day there shall be a holy convocation to you.
Go ahead.
No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat. That only may be done of you. And ye shall observe the Feast of Unleavened Bread, for in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever.
Now, is that clear? He said you shall observe this in your generations by ordinance for how long?
Forever.
Forever. What you going to do with that? You know, why aren't you keeping the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread like God had written in his book? Instead of you keeping this Palm Sunday, Good Friday, Lent, and all this stuff, which God did going to turn around and call it holy. God deemed what is holy and what is not holy, not man.
Like that plain, brother.
And you don't see nothing about no Lent and no Good Friday and Palm Sunday and Easter. You don't see nothing about. You see Easter in the Bible one time, but you can't find out how you're supposed to do it, can you? Then I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you this Easter that's written in the Bible, what they meant for it to be. What they meant for it to be. Now he said, you shall keep this, observe the feast of unleavened bread, for this self-same day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore ye shall observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. That's why we know to keep the feast of Passover, the feast of unleavened bread today, don't we? I mean, in its season. Because it is a sign between us and the Lord that he is the Lord our God.
Hallelujah.
Forever.
Yes, sir.
So if you're not doing this, then this Lord right here, this is not your God. Oh yeah, we serve the God that's in the Bible. We serve Jesus. Jesus is the one who gave it to you when he was Jehovah. Let's go now. Let's go to Colossians, the 12th, second chapter, Colossians 2. Because look at what Paul is telling these Colossians right here. Now these are Gentiles. Colossians 2, pick it up at verse 8. Read that verse 8. Look at what he's telling these Colossians, these Gentiles. Oh, the Passover and stuff, because you know you got some people say that. That Passover and those feasts, that's for the Jews. Well, why is he telling these Colossians this then? Colossians 2 and 8, go ahead.
Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. After tradition of men. After the rudiments of the world. And not after Christ.
And not after Christ. Because Christ never gave you Easter. He never gave you no Palm Sunday and Good Friday and all this stuff. He said, beware. Because, you know, some men say, well, you know, because like we read earlier, some things might be right in a man's eye, but the end thereof are the ways of death. He said, but beware, though, of this. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the traditions of man, after the rules of the world, and not after Christ. These things that men are celebrating, those are traditions of men. Those are not after Christ. So you don't take these days and stamp Christ's name on them, and then that's supposed to be sufficient. That's going to suffice. If that's the case, then anybody can just take Halloween and stamp Christ's name on it then, right? And let everybody do it then. But everybody going to be like, oh no, you crazy this and you crazy. Wait till you find out what this Easter goes back to, and then call. I'm going to tell you the same thing. You crazy for doing it. Just like you would say I would be crazy for doing Halloween and putting Christ's name on it. We show you what you're doing. Skip down to verse. So he said, don't be following after these traditions of men, after rudiments of the world, and not after Christ, because it's a worldwide celebration that's coming up tomorrow, and that started some almost 40 days ago, called Lent, which you can't read in the Bible. Skip down to verse 16, though. Go ahead.
Let no man therefore judge you in meat, or in drink, or in respect of a holy day.
Stop right there. We just read 2 holy days, didn't we? We read about the Passover, and we read about the Feast of Unleavened Bread, didn't we? He said, let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink, or in respect of an holy day, in honoring a holy day. In honoring a holy day. Can everybody see that? He's telling these Colossians, look, this is what I'm telling you to do. Don't let nobody judge you in doing these holy days.
That's plain, brother. Yes, sir.
Because you know you got men trying to say this up. Don't let nobody judge you in holy day. Easter is not no holy day.
Come on, brother. Make it plain.
There ain't no holy day. Good Friday day is not no holy day. Sunday, that is not no holy day.
No, sir.
So he ain't telling Colossians don't let no man judge them and meat and drink of those days. He's talking about the holy day. What's the holy days? The Sabbath day, that's a holy day, ain't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Passover, that's a holy day, ain't it? The Feast of Unleavened Bread, that's a holy day, ain't it? Don't let nobody judge you in honoring these days, in respecting these days. And look who he's telling this to, the Colossians, Gentiles at that. Because you know, oh, the holy days, that's for the Jews. These is for the Christians over here. You know, like, what Christian are you talking about? Because I don't see not one Christian in the Bible keeping these days. Not one. I'm sorry, man. Go ahead and read that verse over.
Yes, 16. Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of holy day or of the new moon.
Now what? How did they get the holy day? They used the new moons, didn't they?
Come on.
How do we get our holy day? We use the new moon.
Yes, sir.
You know how they get Easter? By using the full moon. That's how they calculate Easter. And it's always on a Sunday. And some people in the West, they say it's the first Sunday. Some people say it's the mid-Sunday or the last Sunday. But they calculate it by what? The full moon, not the new moon. Lord uses the new moon, don't he? Everything they got is man-made. And then they want to try to call us out. I'm sorry, brother. Read that one more time.
Okay. 16. Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink, or in respect of an holy day, or of a new moon, or of the Sabbath days.
Or of the Sabbath days. Is Sunday a Sabbath day? Sunday ain't the Sabbath day. Let's move on. So I'm getting a little heated here, so I better move on. Let's go now. Let's go. See, you only see Easter one time in the Bible. Let's go over to Acts the 12th chapter. Acts 12. Acts 12. You know, see, it is in the Bible. Yeah, well, how are you supposed to do it, though? How are you supposed to keep, what day is it on? Tell me that first. Before you get to how you're supposed to do it, tell me what day it's on. Can't nobody tell you, because you know what? They don't even know. They got the churches, the Orthodox Church, and the Western Church, and the Eastern Church, everybody arguing about this pagan day. Because that's all it is pagan. And even got the Edomite Jews arguing about it too. Y'all should keep it on this day. Well, you should be keeping it at all. At all. Because God never commanded you to keep this. Acts 12 and 1. Acts 12 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
Now about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church. And he killed James, the brother of John, with a sword.
Go ahead.
And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread.
Stop right there. Then were the days of what?
Unleavened bread.
I thought the feast days was done away with.
No, sir.
Why is the Bible talking about then were the days of unleavened bread? If the feast days done away with. If the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread done away with, why is it written right here? Then were the days of unleavened bread. What is that? That is the day that comes after the Passover, ain't it?
Indeed.
Even they call the days of unleavened bread the Passover, don't they? So that's what, look at what we're looking at right here. Everybody missed, they go right to Easter and miss this part right here. Then were the days of unleavened bread. Go ahead.
And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quarterings of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people.
Now you see that? Intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. Now wait a minute now. This Easter right here, have you seen it anywhere else other than in the Bible? No. How are you supposed to keep, what day is this on? Don't know. How are you supposed to keep it? Don't know. What about the people? What they supposed to do during this time? Don't know. None of this is the only. Now we show you the mistake that was made with what this Easter was really talking about in the Bible. We go into Zondervan's Bible Dictionary and we're going to read Easter. Now look at what it says about this Easter that's written in the Bible.
Zondervan's Compact Bible Dictionary. Page 140. Says Easter. In parentheses, Passover. Rendered Easter in Acts 12.
Now wait a minute. Now you see what it said? Passover. So that's what they're trying to liken this Easter after, although it's a pagan day. We're going to get down into that in a minute. But they try to, because see, I was redoing some research, and you had the Edomite Jews arguing with them around the 12th, 13th century about this Easter thing, how it should be on Passover. And that's what they try to liken this Easter after Passover. But I'm like, we're going to show you what this Easter really was pointing to, because a rose by any other name is still a rose. You can change the name 100 times, but it's still the same thing. Still the same thing. So read that one more time.
Easter, in parentheses, Passover.
Passover,
Rendered Easter in Acts 12:4 KJV. But correctly translated Passover in ASV.
It's correctly translated what? Passover. Go ahead and read.
The day on which the church celebrates the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Now, who told you to do that? Who told you to do that? We're going to show you during the Passover what day God told you to keep concerning his death. But you see, they made a mistake with that Easter. They called it the Passover, no, aren't they? But I'm saying that, look, don't associate God's holy day with no pagan day. But just for your information, though. Now we're going to look up another, because we're going to go back to the beginning where they start these rituals, which is they start with Lent. Now we're going to read a little bit about Lent.
The World Book Dictionary. This is page 1199. Lent. The 40 weekdays between Ash Wednesday and Easter.
The 40. Now where you get this from? Because God didn't tell you to do nothing about no 40 days to put away your sins, did he?
No, sir.
God tell you put away your sins what? Every day.
Come on, brother.
That's why Paul said, I die daily. Read that again, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It says Lent. The 40 weekdays between Ash Wednesday and Easter. Observed in many Christian churches.
What Christian churches? What Christian churches? Because we don't see this in the Christian churches in the Bible. Go ahead and read.
Yes, sir. It says, observed in many Christian churches as a time for fasting and repenting of sins.
Now, wait a minute now. God told you what day he wanted you to fast on and what day your sins are to be reconciled or atoned for. And that is the Day of Atonement, ain't it? Why the church ain't keeping that? This so-called church, why ain't keeping that? Now, what comes after Lent? Palm Sunday, right? Read about Palm Sunday a little bit. All that you can't find in the Bible, so I got to find it in an encyclopedia or a dictionary.
This is Britannica's encyclopedia. And this is on page 161. Palm Sunday. The Sunday before Easter.
The Sunday before Easter.
So called from the custom. Still observed in the Roman Catholic Church. Of blessing palm branches and carrying them in procession in commemoration of Christ's triumphal entry into Jerusalem. In the Western Church, Palm Sunday is counted as the first day of Holy Week.
Now, you see that? They call it something holy that ain't even in the Bible. You see that? Man, that is really something. I would be afraid to do something like that. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. It says, and its ceremonies usher in the series of services.
Now, where is these ceremonies at in the Bible, though? See, they don't care what the Bible say. They care what men say. Go ahead.
It says, culminating in those of Good Friday, which commemorate the Passion.
Now, we're going to deal with Good Friday, too. So, but before we get to Good Friday, they call this Palm Sunday, right? Now, let me just show you that this didn't even happen on Sunday. Let's go to John, the 12th chapter. John 12. See, they want to do everything on a pagan Roman holiday, which is Sunday. That's what it is, a pagan Roman holiday, Sunday. Go look it up. We're going to John the 12th chapter. Now they're talking about this Palm Sunday. We're going to show you that it didn't happen on no Sunday. John 12, and then there was no such ritual being done thereafter. They only done it that day. When Jesus came in, they set the palm trees down and said, Hosanna, Hosanna, blessed is he that come in the name of the Lord. But they only done it that one time though. You don't see them doing that no more. John 12 and 1, John 12 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
Then Jesus 6 days before the Passover.
Stop right there. Now he said, Jesus 6 days before the Passover,
came to Bethany, where Lazarus was, which had been dead, whom he raised from the dead.
Stop right there. Now we're going to come right back here, because he says 6 days before the Passover, right? So now let's go see when the Passover was. Let's go, because we know that the Passover lamb, which was Jesus, had to die on the Passover day, right? Let's go to Daniel the 9th chapter, Daniel 9. Let's see what day the Passover died on. Daniel 9, and we're going to pick it up in verse 26. Daniel 9 and 26. Everybody follow along so far? Amen. Daniel 9 and 26. We're going to get to the truth. I mean, we seeing it, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
Daniel 9, wait till you see about this Easter though. We're going to get to the truth about that too. Daniel 9 and 26. Daniel 9 and 26. Go ahead and read it.
And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself.
Go ahead.
And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. And the end thereof shall be with a flood. And until the end of the war, desolations are determined. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week.
Now this Jesus now, the Messiah, he going to confirm the covenant with many for 1 week.
And in the midst of the week he shall cause sacrifice and oblations to cease.
In the midst of the week he going to cause sacrifices and oblations to cease. How did he do this? He was cut off in the midst of the week. What's the middle of the week? Wednesday. Now let's count back 6 days. Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, Saturday, Friday, what? Thursday.
Yes, sir.
That's what day we're looking at. He said 6 days before the Passover, that would bring us back to Thursday, and then wouldn't it?
Make it plain.
Finish that.
And for the overspreading of abominations, he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate.
Now, let's go back to John the 12th chapter and pick it up at verse 1. So now we know, he says 6 days before the Passover, so that would bring us back to Thursday, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir.
All right. John 12, and pick it up at verse 1 again. Go ahead and read.
Then Jesus 6 days before the Passover came to Bethany, where Lazarus was, which he had been dead, whom he raised from the dead. There they made him supper, and Martha served. But Lazarus was one of them that sat at the table with him. And took Mary.
Now look at him. He's sitting there eating with him. Jesus raised him from the dead. He's sitting there eating with him.
Come on.
That is really something, ain't it? Yeah, wait. Go ahead.
Then took Mary a pound of ointment of spikenard, very costly, and anointed the feet of Jesus, and wiped his feet with her hair. And the house was filled with the odor of the ointment. Then saith one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, which should betray him. And
we're going to read more about this during the Passover. We're going to read more about this. But go ahead and read though.
Why was not this ointment sold for 300 pence and given to the poor?
See, he wasn't worried about it given to the money, being the ointment being sold and giving the money given to the poor. He held the money bag. So he tried to keep stealing some of the money. So he's like, why you use this ointment like this? We could have sold this for 300 pennies. You understand? He wanted to get that money because he had the money back. Go ahead and read.
Verse 6. This he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief and had the bag.
Go ahead.
And bear what was put therein.
See, he was taking the money. Jesus knew, the Lord knew what he was doing. All this was written about him. You understand? That he was going to be taking the money and all that stuff. All this was written about him in the prophets. Go ahead and read though.
Then said Jesus, let her alone. Against the day of my burying have she kept this.
He could have said, leave her alone, thief. But he didn't say that, did he? Because he knew what time it was with him. He had to fulfill prophecy, didn't he?
Indeed, brother.
Go ahead and read.
For the poor always ye have with you.
I guess he was talking about us too then, because I'm sure. Oh. Go ahead.
But me ye have not always. Much people of the Jews therefore knew that he was there. And they came not for Jesus' sake only.
No, I'm sorry, we missed. He said, but this is for my burial. Because he knew that he was going to die, and he knew that he had to die on the Passover day.
Come on.
You understand? Because that's when the Passover lamb had to die, on the Passover day. Jesus Passover lamb, ain't it?
Come on.
That's why we're going to do it. We're going to do the Passover on April the 20th at sundown. But he said, take, eat, this is my body. Take, drink, this is my blood, right? What did you have to do when you took the Passover? You had to eat that lamb, didn't you?
Come on.
On the Passover day, didn't you? Come on. Well, go ahead and read, though.
Yes, sir. Back at
Because
7.
people don't understand why we keep the Passover and we take the bread and the wine. Because that's his body and his blood. And we had to eat the Passover on what? The Passover day, didn't you? And what day the Passover lamb had to die on? The Passover day. Come on. Go ahead and read.
Back at 7. Then said Jesus, let her alone. Against the day of my burying have she kept this. For the poor always ye have with you, but me ye have not always. Much people of the Jews therefore knew that he was there. And they came not for Jesus' sake only, but that they might see Lazarus also.
See, they want to come see Lazarus too. I mean, I probably would have run it too, but let me check him out. Go ahead and read.
Whom he had raised from the dead. But the chief priests consulted that they might put Lazarus also to death, because that by reason of him many of the Jews went away and believed on Jesus.
See, because Jesus did raise Lazarus from the dead, and everybody come to see him now. Look at this miracle, Jesus. Let's go see Lazarus. We're going to see Jesus too, but let's see Lazarus. You understand? So the Jews get mad and say, you know what? We're going to put him back to death. Let's see him raise him up again. But the Lord could have just raised him back up again, couldn't he? But go ahead and read.
Verse 12. On the next day, much people that were come to the feast, when they heard that Jesus was coming in Jerusalem.
Now, what feast was they coming to? The Passover. Go ahead and read.
Took branches of palm trees and went forth to meet him.
Now, wait a minute. Hold on now, because we missed it. It said, on the next day. But we saw 6 days before the Passover was Thursday, right? On the next day would be what? Friday. So this is the day that they put the branches down on the streets. The palm branches down. On a Friday. Because we know he said 6 days before the Passover. That's when Jesus came in the city, right? And they started putting down the palm tree. He said on the next day, much people will come to the feast when they had heard that Jesus was coming to Jerusalem. Go ahead and read.
On the next day, people that will come to the feast when they heard that Jesus was coming to Jerusalem.
Which would be on a what? Friday. Not on no Sunday, because they try to say Palm Sunday. You should be saying Palm Friday then if you want to keep it correct and you want to do something, right? Not Sunday. Verse 13.
Took branches of palm trees and went forth to meet him and cried, Hosanna. Blessed is the King of Israel that cometh in the name of the Lord.
Now you see what they call Jesus?
Yes, sir.
The King of Israel. And look how he came in. Go ahead.
And Jesus, when he had found a young ass, sat thereon as it is written. Fear not, daughter of Zion, behold, thy king cometh sitting on an ass colt. These things.
Now, we're going to stop right there because, you know, Jesus was a king. You know, and he was the king of Israel, wasn't he? King of the Jews. You understand? King of the Jews. Now, let's go now because, you know, we see that Palm Sunday that they try to call is on a Friday. Not on no Sunday. It can't even get Rome right. You understand? Because there was no such ritual done in the Bible except this one time right here. That's the only time you see this being done. So there was no such ritual after this, was there?
No, sir.
Can't even get Rome right. That's something, ain't it? Let's go now. Let's go to Acts the 15th chapter. No, we're gonna go right here. We're going to deal with this Good Friday because that's what's next, ain't it? That's what's next on the list. Did I give that? Yeah, let me get it real quick. Got all these books, man. All right. Now we're going to deal with Good Friday. Because in the Bible, we know that there's no such thing. We know that now there's no such thing as Lent in the Bible. We know that there's no such thing as Palm Sunday in the Bible. And now we're going to deal with this Good Friday. Come on.
Encyclopedia Britannica. All right, page 518. Good Friday. The English name for the Friday before Easter.
The Friday before Easter. Go ahead.
Kept as the anniversary of the crucifixion. The term is probably corruption.
Well, hold on, wait a minute. Kept as what?
Anniversary of the crucifixion.
Well, Jesus didn't die on no Friday. So where y'all get that from? Didn't we just read that he, the Messiah, is going to be cut off in the midst of the week, didn't we?
It's real.
That's on a Wednesday, ain't it?
Come on.
So where y'all getting this Friday from? That's the weekend, ain't it? Go ahead.
The term is probably a corruption of God's Friday. It was called Long Friday by the Anglo-Saxons and Danes, possibly an allusion to the length of the service which marked the day. The origin of the custom of a yearly commemoration of the crucifixion is somewhat obscure.
I know it is.
It may be regarded as certain that among Jewish Christians, it almost imperceptibly grew out of the old habit of annually celebrating the Passover on the 14th of Nisan.
See, they trying to use this day also, saying that this day came out of the Passover. Which, you know, Jesus died, they said, on Good Friday and rose Easter Sunday morning. But we just saw Jesus died in the midst of the week. That's Wednesday, ain't it?
Yes, sir, all day.
We're going to get into that during the Passover. Coming up on April the 20th at sundown, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, April 21st at sundown. Go ahead and read.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It says the Passover on the 14th of Nisan, and observing the days of unleavened bread from the 15th to the 21st of that month.
See, they know what day the Feast of Unleavened Bread starts and what day it ends. You see that? But yet, they want to keep this Good Friday, though. They know what day it is, what day the Feast of Unleavened Bread is, but they want to make up their own days for you to keep. Go ahead and read.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It says,
they're going about to establish their own righteousness, but won't submit themselves into the righteousness of God. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
In the Gentile churches.
In the Gentile churches now.
On the other hand, it seems to be well established that originally no yearly cycle of festivals were known at all.
Oh, see, so this day was not known at all in Israel's churches or in the Gentile churches. There was no such festival. Go ahead and read.
From its earliest observance, the day was marked by a especially rigorous fast.
Fast? What, don't you supposed to fast on the Day of Atonement?
Make that plain.
Well, I mean, you can fast any time, but you know that God commands you to fast on the Day of Atonement, don't it?
That's right, brother. Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
It says, by especially rigorous fast, and also on the whole, by a tendency to greater simplicity in the services of the church. Prior to the 4th century.
Prior to the 4th century,
there is no evidence of non-celebration of the Eucharist on Good Friday.
Ooh. Prior to the 4th century, that's like 500 something AD. Prior to that, there was no such day called Good Friday. And now you finish, go ahead.
It says, but after that date, the prohibition of communion became common.
Now there was no such day prior to the 4th century called Good Friday. No such day. So now we know that's really a tradition of man, ain't it?
Real.
All of these are tradition of man, but they even telling you that there was no such day prior to the 4th century. That is really something, man. And then you're going to turn around and try to do away with God's holy days and use these polluted days. They have polluted God's church with these abominations, haven't they? Let's go now. Let's go to Acts, the 15th chapter. Acts 15. Acts the 15th chapter, and we're going to pick it up at verse 18. Acts 15 and 18. Go ahead and read it.
Known unto God are all his works from the beginning of the world. Wherefore my sentence is that we trouble not them which from among the Gentiles are turned to God.
See, we don't. This is what the Peter and them is saying. We're not going to trouble the Gentiles which are turned to God. They were dealing with the circumcision.
Yes,
but then they're gonna tell them something else though that they are commanding them to do. Go ahead and read.
But that we write unto them that they abstain from pollutions of idols.
Stop right there. But that we write unto them that they abstain from pollution of what?
Idols.
Idols. So now we telling them, don't be following after these idol gods. Follow our God.
Yes, sir.
The God of Israel, right?
Yeah.
Abstain from following after these idols. What else he said?
And from fornication.
Ain't that the law?
Indeed.
I thought the law was done away with.
No, sir.
He said abstain from idols, from pollutions of idols, and from fornication,
and from things strangled, and from blood.
Ain't this in the law?
Indeed.
I thought you said you ain't got to keep the law no more. They always want to run over here and read this when they want to do away with the circumcision and then talk about you ain't got to keep the law. But what is this right here? What is fornication? Then he said, what is idols? He said, don't worship idols, didn't he? In the law.
Yes, sir.
He said, don't do no fornication. That's in the law. The thing strangled and for blood, that's also in the law, ain't it?
That's right, brother.
So now you don't even understand that you saying that you got to keep the law. You don't even understand that. Because you're reading it right here.
That's right.
This after Jesus died. But the one thing that I want to concentrate on is said, abstain from pollutions of idols. And we know that is following after pagan deities, right? When you start following those idols. Let's go now. We're going to Titus. Because he told the Gentiles this too. Paul told the Gentiles the same thing. That was Peter and them that was the apostles, the church, telling the Gentiles to abstain from idols of pollution of idols. Now look at what Paul going to tell Titus right here. This is Titus, the 1st chapter, and we're going to pick it up at verse 15. Titus 1 and 15. When you get it, go ahead and read it.
Unto the pure, all things are pure. But unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure.
See, unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure. The word of God is not pure to them. The commandments are not pure to them. Go ahead and read.
But even their mind and conscience is defiled. They profess that they know God, but in works they deny him.
Ooh, stop right there. He said they profess that they know God, but in works they deny him. That's why you got Lent. That's why you got Palm Sunday, Good Friday, Easter, and all this stuff. Because in work, they say they know God, but in works they deny him, aren't they? Because he told you to keep what? the Passover, the Sabbath day, the Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. These are days that he gave us to keep.
Sure did.
And gave his servants to keep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Verse 16 again.
They profess that they know God, but in works they deny him, being abominable and disobedient, and unto every good work reprobate.
Ooh. He said they've been abominable and what? Disobedient. And unto every good work reprobate. Man, if this ain't talking about those people that bringing up these so-called feast days and holy days, I don't know who it's talking about then. Who is it talking about? Because they fit this bill, Paul telling us to Titus, ain't he? To a Gentile. Let's go now. Let's go to, we're gonna go the last 2 million years right here, because we worked our way all the way up from Good Friday. What come next? Easter. So let's deal with Easter now. Let's deal with Easter. Right here.
It's the last 2 million years, page 216. Pagan rites absorbed. By a stroke of technical genius, the church, while intolerant of pagan beliefs, was able to harness the powerful emotions generated by pagan worship. Often, churches were cited where temples had stood before, and many heathen festivals were added to the Christian calendar.
Now, I was supposed to read this, but we're going to let Caleb go ahead and finish reading it. So start that over.
Yes, sir.
Pagan rites absorbed. Go ahead.
At the top. Pagan rites absorbed. By a stroke of technical genius, the church, while intolerant of pagan beliefs, was able to harness the powerful emotions.
Now, pagan beliefs. So with paganism means they following after false deities. They follow gods other than the God of Israel. That is, and the Gentile came up with that name pagan, by the way. Okay, the book called it idolatry and idols. Okay, well go ahead and read.
Yes, sir. It says, was able to harness the powerful emotions generated by pagan worship. Often churches were cited where temples had stood before, and many heathen festivals were added to the Christian calendar.
Stop right there. Many heathen festivals were added to the Christian calendar. What is nations? That's what heathen means. They were added to the Christian calendar. Which one?
Easter.
Easter. Go ahead.
For instance, a time...
Wait a minute now. So you mean Easter was added to the Christian calendar?
Yes, sir.
I wonder what Christian calendar they're talking about, because I don't see no Easter added to God's calendar. I don't see no Easter added to God's calendar. So what Christians? They must be talking about Roman Christians. That's what Christians they talking about. The one Constantine and them. Go ahead and read.
Easter, for instance, a time of sacrifice and rebirth in the Christian year, takes its name from the Norse goddess Astra.
Astra. Go ahead.
In whose honor rites were held every spring.
Now when does the Passover begin? It begins in the spring, don't it? What we call the spring. I mean, you only got 2 seasons in the Bible, summer and winter. But what we call the spring, though. Okay? That's when it starts. So this goddess Astra, her festival starts in the spring too. Go ahead.
She in turn was simply a northern version of the Phoenician earth mother, Astarte.
Astarte. And we're going to deal with this Astarte and show you what this Astarte goes all the way back to Kings. Probably beyond that. But go ahead.
Astarte, goddess of fertility.
Goddess of fertility.
Easter eggs continue an age-old tradition in which the egg is a symbol of birth. And cakes, which were eaten to mark the festivals of Astarte and Astra, were the direct ancestors of our hot cross buns.
Whatever those are. I never really looked them up. We ain't gonna read that. Okay, so now we see where this Easter came from. Paganism, didn't we? Astra, Astarte. Come on, turn the camera back this way. Astra, Astarte. That's how you get Easter. Now, let's go now. Let's go to, we're going to look at something right here. We're going to look at something right here. Go back. Now, this is all her names right here. Easter, English, Astra, Anglo-Saxon, Ishtar, Babylonian, Ashtaroth. Keep that name in mind. That's what the Hebrews called her. Astarte is Greek. Now, so the Phoenicians and Greek fertility goddess. Asherah is Hebrew name for the Canaanite fertility goddess. Ishtar is the Babylonian fertility goddess. Estra is the Anglo-Saxon fertility goddess. See all these names you got, but we still dealing with the same deity, though, aren't we? Everybody just got a different name for her. You understand? Now, let's go to the next slide. Now, this is called, it said, a fact check Easter's dark side. Easter, or more popularly Ishtar, completed with symbolic eggs and rabbit, was in fact a pagan, Babylonian, and Assyrian deity, signifying fertility and sexuality. Later, centrically adopted by the Christians by Emperor who? Constantine. You see that? And Pope Gregory gave it to you first. Then here comes Emperor Constantine giving it to you again. Now, this Astra and Easter and all this stuff, this is nothing but worshiping a fertility goddess. And you see the bunny right there, the rabbit? I don't know what that is. I guess that's her carrying him. But what does a rabbit have to do with the birth of Jesus, or the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ? Nothing at all. All right. Now, let's show you about, because one of the names was what? Ashtaroth, right? So now let's show you about this Ashtaroth. We go on to 1 Kings 11 chapter. Don't you know one of the wisest kings in Israel, or the wisest king in Israel, was worshiping this deity? And the Lord, it was not pleasing to the Lord. The Lord was angry with Solomon for this. The Lord was angry with Solomon for this. Let's go now. Let's go to 1 Kings 11 chapter. 1 Kings 11 chapter. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Now look at what Solomon did. 1 Kings 11 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
But King Solomon loved many strange women.
Together
with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians.
Look, he was kicking it with all of them, wasn't he? Edomites, Moabites, Zidonians, Hittites. Solomon didn't care, did he? Go ahead and read.
And Hittites, of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, ye shall not go into them, neither shall they come in unto you.
Go ahead.
For surely they will turn away your heart after their gods. Solomon clave unto this in love.